Hi, everyone. Welcome today to our webinar where we will be discussing the solutions and services that we offer here at Grasp Technologies. I'd like to welcome Pauline Hamardo, my fellow colleague, as she brings us through the webinar. Before we get started, a few housekeeping items. We're going to be taking questions at the very end, so please feel free to plug them into the Q&A box any chance you get. We will be getting them towards the end of the webinar. And also, we will be sending out a recording to everyone by tomorrow, so look forward to that in your inbox. Without further ado, let's get started, Pauline.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. This is so great. Customers only, VIPs. So thank you all for joining up and for participating. We just want to cover everything. Businesses change, your customers change, your needs change. So what does Grasp have? Do I have everything that Grasp has? Do I need anything else that Grasp has? Are they coming up? Are these items coming up in conversations with your customers where someone says, "Oh, I need a carbon report"? Does Grasp have that? So these are the kinds of things we just want to cover today. For many of you, it's called a refresher. And I'll mention later, if you want a one-on-one with me, absolutely send a note to me. But today's going to be an overview of everything. So Peter, if you want to move to the next one. So very importantly, we are celebrating a very special day at Grasp. Today is our 30th birthday. So happy birthday, Grasp. I've been here half the time we've been in business. And many of you remember when Eric Mueller, our founder, would come into your office and install software. So we are far and away from that, but we are so very proud. 30 years in the travel technology sphere. We're thrilled, and we would never have been able to do it without customers like you. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and happy birthday to us all. Next up, Peter. For some of you who are newer to Grasp, you may know some of these items. Many of you have many of our products, but we're just going to go over a little bit of everything. Obviously, founded in 1996, which makes us 30 years old. Some bolded updates there on what we're doing in terms of number of transactions, the percentage of transactions that we do, and the dollars, $40 billion worth of transactions flow through our systems, whether it's through our agencies, our travel agencies, and we always separate them here, TMCs, agencies, and CTDs. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The next one, Peter, we have 4 divisions, and not everybody knows that. So we are in the core division. For everyone who's on this call, we're talking core division, TMCs, agencies, CTDs. We also have a virtual payment division. Many of you are GraspPay customers. That's our virtual card. And then separately, there are 2 other areas within Grasp. One is the enterprise. So imagine a corporation might come to Grasp. They may have their own reporting tool, or they want to come to us for reporting, but they're working with 30 disparate agencies around the globe, and they come to us for data plumbing. And we would go to each and every one of those agencies and fetch that data and deliver it to either Grasp Data or to the reporting tool that the corporation has. Data services, we are a subcontractor to Visa, to MasterCard, to ARC for consortia who ask us to do, again, data plumbing to collect all the data, normalize it, standardize it, and then hand it off to the consortia. So we're keeping very busy here. If I were to look at everything that we do for our core team here, it's this. It's like buckle your seatbelts. Here's what we do. And we're going to go over these one by one. Some of these are ancillary features to other things. And some of you will say, oh, I have that there, and you can point. So we'll go over the next one. The first one, which most of our clients have, is Grasp Data, which is the reporting tool. As you look at the next screen, you're going to see a visualization of what a potential dashboard could look like. Every user has their own login credential. They can create their own dashboard. We have 50 dashboard widgets, so anyone can create their own view, 600 plus reports, the ability to schedule out reports. We'll continue on here, Peter. And then for the agency itself, one of the things we have to do, we have to normalize hotel names, because if each and every one of us on this call were an agent and we were booking a hotel, in this case in London, but we each tweak the name just a little bit so that the name is not the same, well, Grasp has to fix that. So we have in the background, just humming in the background, we normalize hotel names so that in this case, these 3 hotels, which are not 3 hotels, it's 1 hotel, but with different names, with disparate names, we're going to fix that. So when you run the report for that hotel, it will have one name so that we don't want your customers or the corporations to, at the CTD level, to come to you and say, we didn't stay in 3 properties in London. It was just the one. That just hums in the background. With that, because we are now normalizing hotel names, not only can you see air on a map, on the Where My Travelers map, and by the way, there's 3 areas in GRASP data where you can find Where My Travelers information. This is the visualization of the map. So not only can you see the air, but you can also see the hotels, as you can see that little white circle there. Next up, for the agency, for the CTD, for the TMC, we want to make sure to show you which hotels are paying you, how quickly they're paying you, and which ones are not paying you at all. So hotel commission optimization, you may hear us use the term GRASP Hopper. This would be for the agency to be able to run reports or to see the visualization in the dashboard widgets to view all the, to show you which hotels are paying, how quickly, and which ones are not paying you at all. So helping you optimize the commissions that you're earning from the hotels. I once heard a story of an agency who found out that there was a hotel that was not paying them. They actually switched them off in the online booking tool. So you can have quite a dramatic result in taking a look at something like this. Next one. GRASP data, and again, we're talking about a reporting tool. It's sold in plans. So you could say, I just want the basic plan. What does the basic plan include? And every plan has attributions to it. Then you could say, well, I love the basic plan, but I want to be able to create my own reports from scratch. Can I do that? Well, sure. You can add an ancillary feature, in this case, Report Builder, the first item there. Add that to your basic plan. Or you may want to look up a plan and say, well, is there a plan that includes that? Maybe I should move up a plan. And in one-on-ones, I mean, these are something that we talk about in one-on-one conversations. Are there other features that you need? And would it be smarter to just add it to your plan or to move up a plan to make it more economical? Those features, Report Builder, create your own reports from scratch, GDS pre-trip data above and beyond the back office data that we would be receiving from you. You'd be able to get an additional suite of GDS pre-trip reports. What are those for? Arrival, departure, group manifest, where are my travelers? So the items that wouldn't necessarily go to the back office, and if you're doing groups and meetings, that really comes in handy. SFTP, let's go back. SFTP, Secure File Transfer Protocol, the ability to push out the data to a third party. We have many clients who do that. They use the SFTP process to push out data to their customer or to third-party systems. GRASP Analytics, if you need drill down visualization, and I've got some visuals on that coming up here. Do-it-yourself invoice retrieval. One of the things our clients always come to us for are, I remember when I started here years ago and I met the founder and other people at an industry conference, they were all wearing white coats, white jackets. And I thought, well, they either work at the Clinique counter or, are they doctors? And now I've come to learn that people come to us with aches and pains. I think our founder would say we're more a mad scientist at times, but people come to us with aches and pains. And one of them is resolved with do-it-yourself invoice retrieval. We provide you with the URL, you put it on your website, and travelers can get copies of their invoices 24/7. Next screen. Sync options, back office. So the GDS data comes in every 20 to 30 minutes, but for the back office data, the standard sync is once a night in the middle of the night. Well, what if you want fresher data? Can you have it? Sure. We have multi-sync, which runs in the background, hums in the background. It launches, goes through its paces, it ends, it begins again. I think it's up to like 8 times a day. Manual sync for, oh gosh, I need to run a report at 3 p.m. I can't wait until the midnight sync. I just want to press the button. Data consolidation. If there is one thing that we are doing a ton of, it is data consolidation. So one agency purchasing another, but they want to keep that agency with the other back office or with the persona of that other agency. Or in conversations with your customers, or in the case of a CTD, if you have other offices around the world, if I were at an agency, one of the first things I would ask a prospect is, do you have other locations? Are you using other agencies? Because I would offer data consolidation. Say, we can get your data from other places from around the world consolidate it so that you'll have it all in one place within Grasp Data or Grasp Analytics. In that case, chances are you'll need currency conversion, so you'll be able to view the data in up to 160 currencies within Grasp Data. And finally, credit card reconciliation. So we have clients who do this manually for their customers now. We can automate the process where you upload the file into Grasp Data. It's actually in the Data Cafe. And once it's organized for you, for air, rail, and fees, you can do a reconciliation against the items that are in the back office for those items. So those are all ancillary features or attributes of other plans. This is just a visualization of data consolidation. So whether it's a shared customer with another agency or two agencies, one is purchasing another, just a little visualization. We do a ton of this. Next. So Grasp Analytics, the foundation for Grasp Analytics is Grasp Data. So that's where all the data is coming in. That's where it's all being visualized. But in the last few years, the question has been analytics, analytics, analytics. Are you going to do it? So it's now been, is it 2 years, 2.5 years now? We can go to the next screen where we built a tool. It's called Grasp Analytics. It is on Microsoft Power BI. So the look and feel is completely different than our standard Grasp Data. I think we have 3 of them here to show you, but there are multiple, I call them launching. I think they're called reports in Power BI, but I really think of them as launch pads because each and every item that you see on the screen that you could touch, you click on it and everything on the screen will change before your very eyes. This one, executive summary. So all the different aspects of what you're doing for your customer. The next one is spend air summary. So you can, again, drill in, and talk to your clients. And so the feedback we received on this is that for the agency, for the new business development person, how fabulous is this to be able to show you're talking to a prospect and saying, these are all the services that we can provide for you. Let me show you our reporting tool. Let me show you analytics. Let me show you how I can help you save money. And then the next one, quarterly forecast report. How great, I mean, for all of Grasp Analytics, but this one, imagine the account manager, the executive sitting in front of an executive saying, look, if based upon your past purchases, as you're looking to create a budget for next year, this is what we see the forecast is going to be. So those are 3 of the many, many items in Grasp Analytics. So going into some of those, just a few of those ancillary features, I did want to show you a visualization of PMI, which would be on this next screen. We provide you with the URL. You would put it onto your website. We'll show the next screen, Peter. Over on the left, if I'm a traveler, it's 8 o'clock at night, I need to do my expense report because I forgot to do it and the agency's closed and you don't want me calling your 24-hour service. I could go directly onto your site. I'm going to keep sticky to that agency and I would fill in the blanks on the left and get a copy of my invoice on the right. And that's Grasp PMI. So what we hear about that is, boy, oh boy, does it save time, because what would happen is that agents are bombarded with requests first thing in the morning for the travelers who needed to do it the night before. So that's Grasp PMI. Next up, Grasp Agent. So up to now, we're sort of, we're looking at agency as a whole, certainly corporate travel management companies. When we talk about Grasp Agent, we switch gears a little bit. And on the next screen, you'll see we have a product. It's a separate product, and it is for the agency and the agents. So for the agency, we want to automate, especially if you have commission-based agents, independent contractors. We know how much work is involved in gathering the information, calculating the commissions, putting together the statements, distributing the statements. We want to automate all of that for you. So with Grasp Agent for the agency, you could see where the benefit will be. And then for the agent, which is what we're looking at, the agent screen, the agent would be able to talk about true transparency. They'd be able to go and see their sales, what they have sold, the vendors that they have utilized, their statements. So instead of getting it, I think about my banking account, they don't put anything in the mail to me anymore, but I know what to do. I go online and I can see where I stand with my bank. Same thing here I can see finalized statements, I can see interim statements, I can do a search, because I would not as an agent have access to the back office, but at least I I have full transparency to all of my sales with Grasp Agent. The next screen will show you an idea of just a sample commission statement. So if I were to go in that upper right-hand side there on that previous screen to look at my finalized statements, finalized, done, paid, I'm getting that check. There's also an interim statement. So interim would be, you're paying the 31st of the month, but it's the 12th. How am I doing? How am I doing for I know that there may be some exchanges, there may be some refunds, but the statements look similar for both the finalized and the interim, showing line by line each and every item that I've sold. And then further, unclaimed. So, I can go into Grasp Agent and there is a report in there that shows unpaid commissions. So I go in there and I've sold that expensive Viking cruise and I am just waiting for that check. When am I going to get it? I go and run the report. It shows Viking has not paid it. It shows unpaid. I call Viking or I reach out to Viking. They say, we sent the check. Well, they may have sent the check to the agency, but they didn't put the agent's name on it. So in the unclaimed commission area of Grasp Agent, it's an ancillary feature, I could go in and see the checks that have come into the agency, and I could click through and say, oh my gosh, there's my Viking cruise. And then with a couple of clicks, send out a pre-formatted email to whoever in accounting at the agency would be with all of the information of that sale to claim, in fact, that commission was mine. And that's Grasp Agent. Next, Grasp Direct. So this is one that we had a lot of requests on where, certainly there are CRMs out there that are multi-tentacled and they have so many different modules to them. But what is the story we kept hearing? My agents don't like it. It's too difficult to use. They find it so cumbersome. They'd rather email someone in accounting to let them know that they sold something. So on the next screen here, you'll see it's a multi-modular product, but this is the one that everyone came to us for. Is there any way you could create just a simple platform where an agent could fill in the blanks, click submit invoice, and have that sale go into the back office? In this case, it's for trams. So I've sold that Viking cruise. I put in the passenger name, everything up to and including the total fare, the commission amount. I click submit invoice. It speaks real time and creates both an invoice contract item and an invoice object. I mean, I've got those two mixed up, but it goes directly into the back office. Next up, Prepare. So Prepare is a data cleanser that we built. And in North America, especially, there are 4 primary back office systems. It's going to be Trams, parentheses, Trace, Travcom, Globalware, and Aggresso Central Command. So as a technology company, when we build products, we go to the one that's obviously most out there so that we can cast the widest net. So we have a data cleanser for trams, and those are the rules. So if you look at those 2 columns, very importantly, this is a standalone product. So you don't have to have any other products of ours, but imagine the work that someone's doing now to clean the errors and the inconsistencies in trams before you dare run a report, whether it's in Grasp Data or another reporting tool, oh, heaven forbid, or if you're just going to run a report out of your back office. So the one I've bolded here is one that I understand from the support team, and chances are you all know our support team. They told me one of the #1 rules that is launched in Prepare would be the voiding the newest hotel and car duplicates on a confirmation number. So whether you let this hum in the background, put it on a schedule, or you actively say, I'm going to sit down now and bring up this rule to void hotel and car duplicates, Prepare cleanses the data at the source so that it flows through into reporting. We have 2 versions of this. The standard, which is those 2 columns of rules. There are 18 rules, but we have some clients who'll say, I don't have all these issues. Is there a lighter version? We do have a light version where you would select 5 rules and then those would be launched for you against trams. Next up, Grasp Tuesday. We're getting toward the end here. Grasp Tuesday. We, a number of years ago now, is it about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, we launched Grasp Tuesday. Remember the days where Tuesday was the ARC Reconciliation Day? Well, that's what we came up with this name. And on the next screen, what we would show you, we have, I think, 5 rules right now that you could launch against the back office. So you receive the ARC, the boss file from ARC, you pull it into Grasp Tuesday, and it will look to see what the differences are between that file and what's in the back office. At this point, this is for trams. And so whether it's, I think a perfect example would be ARC shows a different commission than what you're showing. You want to match those up. So let's say there are 35 entries that are different than what ARC is showing you. With one click, you can change them all instead of going through them one by one. And we know that this is a great time consuming thing for agencies to do. So we've automated a number of the ARC processes. Next up, the last two items, right? I think GraspPay. So GraspPay goes back to our virtual payment. It's our virtual payment system. It's the only thing here that I do not personally represent. So if any of you have interest in GraspPay, if you'll show the next screen, I will introduce you to Katie Bouchire, who is my counterpart in the GraspPay area. Those are conversations for, banking and lines of credit. And we also are very happy to sit down with you and your customer. So if you want to do a thought leader event, and say, look, we want to talk to you, dear customers, about what virtual payment is, and we can tell you about GraspPay as well. That's up to you, and that is our product. We've been doing very, very well with it, and happy to introduce you to Katie if you have need. Last but not least, Grasp Cloud. So we are, anyone can say that they do cloud hosting, but explain, you'll never have to teach us how to spell GDS. I know many of you have heard me say that before. On the next screen, you'll see our agencies come to us because they want to work with someone who speaks their language. This first bullet, what do agencies come to us for? What do CTDs come to us for? They want to have access to their technologies from anywhere in the world. And the ones that they come to us for are typically GDS, the back office, a CRM in the case of many leisure agencies, and then the GDS printer. Very importantly, it's not just that we put it on, we become your server, and we become your cloud. But again, something goes wrong with Sabre, you don't have to explain to us what Sabre is or how to spell it, or we got a guy, we know who to go to if there's an issue. Next slide. I think really in summarizing, in fact, before this, I do want to give you some sneak peeks of what we're going to be working on and what you can start looking for. I went to our head of product before this call and said, what can I talk about? What can I not talk about? So a couple things to mention to you. Grasp Data, we've had that tool for a long, long time. She is due a glow up. So by the end of the year, you're going to see a new look and feel to Grasp Data, which we are so super excited about. Grasp Agent, which is our oldest product, we are going to be adding features into Grasp Data to be a module, features of Grasp Agent in Grasp Data to be a module within Grasp Data. And again, toward the end of the year, it's going to have additional capabilities, and it's going to offer great scalability. Artificial intelligence. If no one's asked that question, I'm sure it's going to come over. Where is AI going to fit into things? We're going to see it in both Grasp Data and Grasp Analytics, and Grasp Data for building reports, and Grasp Analytics narrative and Q&A. And this is ever evolving and ever changing, right? So as we're talking about toward the end of the year, these conversations that we're having with our customers are helping us build our products. That's why our relationships with you, we couldn't be here without you. Benchmarking, that's another one we get asked about every so often. But the question has always been, against what? Is if it's an agency in New Jersey that's in pharma and they want to be compared to prices to a destination, and we're comparing against an agency in Los Angeles that does pharma or not, it's hard, right? So, but we as a company, in the 30 years we've been in business, we have a lot of data. So our first is going to be AIR, and we're expecting, again, toward the end of the year. And lastly, it's more a tool than anything else. You'll be seeing little by little, we're going to be launching GIA, Grasp Interactive Agent. So when you go into Grasp Data, you'll see her pop up and say, hi, I'm GIA. How can I help you? So that is what's coming up. But to close out the conversation, let's keep the conversation going. Please reach out to me at any time. I know you all do. And if you want a personalized one-on-one, we can absolutely do that. The difference between that and today is that if I'm speaking to you, before I get on that call, I found out exactly what you have with us. And if there's any, then the conversation goes to what are your needs? How are things changing? Certainly COVID was a big change for many, and their businesses changed from one type to another. So always reach out to me, Pauline at grasptech.com.